The Agile project lifecycle has 5 phases: initiate, plan and estimate, implement, review and retrospective, and release. Let's consider each phase and how it contributes to the early delivery of value. During the initiation phase, the team tries to achieve a stakeholder agreement about the project objectives and get the funds they need to develop the project. Think back to the example we discussed in the introduction. Your team decides that you're going to develop a new software product. While your team is in the initiation phase, you define the project scope. You sit down together and decide what should and should not be part of the project, or what the boundaries are. You're creating the project vision, the current understanding of the project and clarifications of the various aspects. You also estimate how much the project will cost, as well as its schedule. This information is used in the product roadmap, which describes the growth of the project and how it matches up with stakeholder requirements. The roadmap should include the scheduled launch date, the target user, the user's needs, and the main features that your team will need to develop. As your team creates the product roadmap, they follow these steps. Define the product requirements. Group related requirements together. Prioritize the requirements. Identify the business dependencies. Identify technical dependencies. Complete high-level requirement estimates. And prioritize based on both dependencies and estimates. The roadmap allows the product owner to create a release plan, including the highest priority requirements for the product's release. It's also helpful to think of personas that will stand for the average system user. If the Scrum team is imagining who the product is being designed for, they'll be able to tailor the product as specifically as possible. While you want to have a rough idea of when the different parts of the project are going to be completed, you aren't ready to thoroughly plan the project yet. This loose planning helps contribute to a high level of flexibility. You also define your risks during this phase. Identifying your risks will help determine how the project will be managed and how the sprints will be scheduled. Making sure that your whole team is on the same page ensures that everyone aligns their priorities. Your team also has to develop the business case, or how the project will be worthwhile to your company. If your project isn't going to benefit the company, it shouldn't be continued. Finally, your team prepares the project environment. You need a reserved workspace for the team to work together in. You also have to make sure that your team has all of the people, hardware, and software you foresee needing for the entire development process. With all of this planning in place, a release plan can be created, which details all of the development that's proposed for the product. Your development team walks through each of these steps, and once you've finished the phase, you have your team set in place, a product backlog, the length of the sprints, and the release planning schedule.